So whether you want to automate lead generation, create content pipelines with AI, or build really any kind of AI workflow that works with lead enrichment and content creation, this is going to be helpful for you. I'm going to show you exactly how I did this. So I'm breaking down my project GTMIntel.com and its complete automation pipeline. What GTMIntel does is ingest lots of data from the news, enrich it, and then turn it into actionable insights and leads that you can then reach out to with a real reason to connect with that are actually relevant to your business. It also creates a newsletter and social media content. So this kind of patterns here, you know, whether you're looking to actually generate startup leads yourself or something similar, these patterns apply whether it's content creation, lead enrichment, or anything that touches those pieces. So basically, I've had Claude put together this this report here based on the code in the project. So this is kind of the steps that it goes through. But I'll just show you the website here. That's not it. That is, so GTMIntel.com, basically, it's for service providers, or really anyone who sells anything to startups. So obviously, depending on the funding level and what the funding event is, then there are going to be already different challenges and different needs. Obviously, you know, different startups in different areas, they will have unique situations. And the point that they do get a next funding round, whether it's seed, Series A, Series B, etc., you know, that's a great time to reach out because they've just got this infusion of cash and they've got pressure from their investors to turn that into growth. And if you offer services and products that are going to help them with that, then, you know, it's obviously a win-win for everyone. So what it does is use every 15 minutes, it checks a service called GDELT. I'm not going to cover that a bunch here because it's a little complicated, but I wanted to mention that because it's kind of, most people haven't heard of it, but it's actually open source. It's amazing. You can pull in a ton of data about news and then do useful things with that. And here what I've done that with there is actually have it filter for those funding events. So, you know, PR releases, news about different startup funding rounds. And then it filters it because, you know, it also ends up pulling in a lot of unrelated things. Like for this use case, I'm ignoring if like they're raising debt or if it's a large company that gets acquired or any of that kind of stuff, because I didn't think it's really relevant to this audience. And then at that point, when it's got the data in, basically, you know, it pulls it all into Supabase, into like table here. You can see there's like 7,600 records in here. Oh, it looks like one just literally just got added that just now. So I'll show you a bit more detail of that in a second. But basically, it uses AI to enrich that data. So it uses mostly OpenAI, the deep research API. You know, I also was using Perplexity because I got some free credits, but I would recommend that you use OpenAI because it's a lot more reliable. And what that does is research the company and the CEO. So it then finds, based on the stage of growth, based on things that they've posted on social media, the employees have posted, that kind of thing, it's able to infer the current challenges and things that they likely need help with, as well as some background information that's going to help you essentially have a reason to reach out beyond just, hey, I noticed you now have some cash to burn. So then what it does is scores it with a relevant score relative to you and your business. So, you know, some of them just aren't going to be appropriate depending on what you're offering and what your niche is. So, you know, it just filters it so that you're not then hearing about ones that you can't do anything about. And then it creates content. So primarily it creates the email, but also creates social media content as well. And then delivers it. So I'll show you what the email looks like. So this is this is an example one here. So this is what you would get. And basically it's based on, let me see if I put it at the end here. Yeah, so it's in really small text, but basically it's personalized based on a growth agency providing demand gen services to startup. So this is like, imagine you're a growth agency providing demand gen services to startup and you receive this. You can see how, these are all relevant because of the current kind of state here. So Heron Power, I'm not going to read out all of this, but you can pause the video, you can see more if you want to. But Heron Power is an energy infrastructure startup developing solid state transformer tech, recently raised 38 million Series A. You can help address their challenge of reaching enterprise customers through targeted demand generation and technical marketing support. Here's the background of the CEO. So was a long-time SVP at Tesla, deep experience in power electronics, renewable energy tech. He founded Heron Power to address grid bottlenecks. He's known for his technical acumen, and he's deployed gigawatts of grid-connected electronics in the past decade. So basically, it gives you a little background about like the kind of profile of the person you're reaching out to, how you might address them. So it sounds like this is a pretty technical person. So, you probably want to you might want to touch on some of like your experience communicating highly technical topics as an agency. So challenges mentioned: scaling up engineering and manufacturing ops, managing complex supply chain, establishing and maintaining partnerships with large energy and data center developers. Okay, so potentially like something that a marketing agency could help with as well. Demonstrating product reliability, safety, and performance. So again, this is sort of like crosses over into like PR and content marketing as well. And competing with entrenched incumbent manufacturers and overcoming resistance to adoption of new grid infrastructure technologies. Well, that's obviously a marketing angle as well in there. So, and then potential needs. So, and then we've got like a bunch of them here. And this was all from one day, pretty much. These were all in one day, and then there's like one from the previous day here, two from the previous day. But you can see there's quite a lot going on in the world, and you also, so what it also does is produce this the CSV. So you can just go ahead and download these, and then a lot of these has like a link to the CEO's LinkedIn profile, and I'm not going to show it on YouTube just in case there's any issues, but there's also an email column as well, and at the moment, like the focus wasn't really on enriching the contact details, so that's why you can see there's a bunch missing. But basically, there's a number of ways that this could easily be made. So we have like 80-90% of the contact details. That wasn't the focus. So basically, this is the main process here. Let me see if I can pull up any of the LinkedIn posts. It was more just to promote the website itself. So it's interesting, like it's for some reason loads of people have been searching for this relatively recently, but so here's some of the posts. It's basically grabs a screenshot of one of the startup websites and then gives a bit of a background. So it's like just kind of explaining like, here's they just raised a Series B, here's a background, here's where it gets interesting for agencies. So you can kind of see how you could use this kind of data to get a bit more engagement on LinkedIn. So it ran that experiment from a bit, but I unfortunately ran into some issues with staying connected to LinkedIn's API. But honestly, you could just do this through make.com and it would be fine. It's basically that's how this whole thing works. So I'm not going to dive into all the code and things like that, because I think I wanted to keep this video based more on like the principles of how you do this. The code is actually, this one's in Rust, just because I wanted to learn, and obviously I used Claude to help me a lot with that. But the nice side effect of that is that, because I'm self-hosting it, it uses basically like zero resources on a very cheap VPS to do all this. So that's cool. But of course, you could do this. You could do this in N8N if you wanted, or I would probably just use Python if I was building this out with someone. But basically, yeah, this is the process. So ingest, enrich, score, and make it relevant to you, and then create the content. And so in terms of the APIs, I'm just going to close LinkedIn because it seems to be like slowing everything down. Basically, I would use OpenAI Deep Research, and it's important to use the background mode and webhooks because it makes it so much more reliable. So basically, you put background mode true, and then when you send the request to Deep Research, and then you just wait for the webhook to come in. And you can do this in N8N as well. And it just means that because the deep research process, sometimes it can take like 15-20 minutes, and it removes any opportunity for stuff to time out or anything like that, which can be really frustrating especially when you're testing things. And anyway, that's an important thing. And then I really recommend using Anthropic for the content creation, just because it's so much more natural at writing. I mean, so I have another project here which is using a similar process. So I did this with smartenergyinsider.com. Basically, it creates an industry roundup newsletter. So I'll probably cover this in another video, but basically ingests a bunch of sources about the industry and creates a weekly newsletter where it creates like a editorial roundup. And so you've got like the different just a really nice structure here. And Anthropic Claude did all of this just by ingesting a bunch of data into a database and then being able to take all that context with a nice template and instructions for how to structure things. And then it's created, like I've learned things from reading this newsletter. Like Honda just made the production electric motorcycle for the first time. I think that's cool. Anyway, getting a little off topic. Basically, I'd recommend OpenAI Deep Research to get the background information about people and companies and things. Obviously, if you want email addresses, then right now I'm actually using Lemlist because I have a lifetime account that I don't have to pay a monthly fee for. Quite lucky with that. But you can definitely use things like any of the cold email tools. There's anymailfinder.com is quite good. And then relevance scoring, I'd use OpenAI for this, and then content creation, like I said, Claude, Anthropic. So that's basically how it all works. Behind the scenes, storing a lot of data in Supabase. You can see like where it's extracted things. We've got the source of the news, which actually I have been putting in the links here. So if you, in the email, we've got like a link to the CEO on LinkedIn, and the original source for this news is linked here as well. So you can kind of make sure that nothing's been hallucinated. So wanted to keep this video pretty quick and explain the principles behind this, how you would structure this. But basically, you can apply this kind of process to, like I said, anything where you have like a go-to-market process where you're doing ABM, outbound, where you are reaching out to people and you want to have that personalization, and research where you can go in there really prepared. Also, all these things are great for content creation workflows. So like I showed you with the other example here with the energy news, being able to take in a bunch of information and then regularly produce something that's kind of condensed down, hallucination free, and provides a lot of value and is super efficient using these AI workflows. This is a really a great way to, a great kind of framework to use. So hopefully this is helpful. If you have any more questions about this, reach out to me via the email in my channel, or I've got also an AI community on School, so the link is in the description below for that. I do work with companies to help automate marketing processes to make them more efficient and save time and money, so that you can spend more of the time scaling up your marketing approaches to bring in more money for your business. So if you do want to learn more about working with me, just send me an email via the email on my channel. All right, thanks for watching this. Bye.